Barbie, as we know, is based on Mattel's Barbie dolls, and Greta Gerwig is this director who everyone sees as the only female director on the planet. My main issue with her is that she's horrible at coming up with stories. Lady Bird was a snooze fest, and now she's made Barbie, which visually it looks great, but the story's yet another corny, pointless snooze fest. It's beyond boring, with terrible writing. There's a whole scene where two of the Kens argue saying, "I'll beach you off," B-E-A-C-H, which is obviously supposed to be an adult joke, but not only is it poorly executed and unfunny, it's super unoriginal. 21 Jump Street did a much better version of the beating certain things off joke anyway.
You want me to beat your dick off?
You want to beat my dick off?
That's weird, man.
Why is the dialogue in this movie so flat and boring?
Did you bring your rollerblades?
I literally go nowhere without them.
It's Barbie land. Shouldn't it be more like, "Hi Barbie, hi Ken, let's have a pool party, yay! Let's go shopping, yay! I love this outfit, yay!" Obviously not exactly this word for word, but it should be over exaggerated and as Barbie-like as possible.
Glad I brought my trunks.
I heard the squeal. We heard the squeal. Did you get it?
It's ironic because apparently the boring dialogue came from them trying to replicate the way kids play with Barbies, but they must not have met any kids or been kids themselves because kids playing with Barbies don't even talk like that. It should be really ridiculous. Like they should just be doing absolutely anything and everything. Like, "Hey everyone, Ken stole a dog, let's get him." Just stupid stuff that kids would come up with. Not, "I'm gonna beat you off," or "Do you guys think about dying?" Like that's so dry. And speaking of Ken, I saw even people who liked the movie were still not thrilled with how the movie handled Ken because they thought Ken would never act like that.
I'll save you.
Well.
Closet, let Barbie go this instant. You'll never get away with it. Never!
And they're right. For Ken to make more noise than Barbie in a movie titled Barbie, to have more of a storyline, to have a bigger presence, and all because they made him super out of character to do some fake woke commentary, what a waste of potential. The Kens should have just had Barbie's back and been their besties, but it's Greta Gerwig and her partner Noah Baumbach, the film's co-writer, who's an expert on writing the worst sounding dialogue on the planet.
You're so merged with your own selfishness, you don't even identify it as selfishness anymore.
The movie also tried to have some more emotional moments, but I hate it when movies like this, which are supposed to be camp or funny, try to forcibly insert random serious moments. Like, why can't y'all incorporate themes into the comedy in light tone with finesse? It actually kind of reminds me of White Chicks, because there was this theme of two guys learning about women's problems by pretending to be women, and it was funny and chaotic, obviously, but there were also more emotional beats woven in that hit just fine without disrupting the tone. And same with movies like Legally Blonde or She's the Man, which have like this feminist theme of women can do it too, or women can do it while still being women, but it felt natural when those movies did it. I think people like the message and the visuals and the cast of Barbie so much that most of them are just willing to ignore the poor execution. But there's still some criticisms coming out even from the people who did like it. There's a lot of people saying the movie was too lukewarm and attempted to cater to everyone and wasn't radical enough in its commentary. Other people thought the commentary was just a bunch of aggressive surface level lip service, like the execution of the theme was basically an overt non-subtle dialogue rather than the actual story.
You've been making women feel bad about themselves since you were invented.
Sexualized capitalism, unrealistic physical ideals. No. You said the feminism for back 50 years. You destroyed girls and made sense of worth, and you were killing the planet with glorification of rampant consumerism. No, I'm supposed to help you and make you happy and powerful.
The movie's fans keep saying, "Oh, it's a comedy, it's not that deep." But the point is, they were clearly trying to be deep and they just didn't pull it off. Surely you can do better than corny monologues and crying in the corner because you don't feel pretty in the real world. And can we talk about this monologue for a sec? Because the way people were talking about it made it sound like it was going to rival Aragorn's Not Today speech. And then you see it and oh my god, it's so bad. Nothing on the actress, her delivery was fine, but the writing, good god.
You have to lead, but you can't squash other people's ideas. You're supposed to love being a mother, but don't talk about your kids all the damn time.
You have to be a career woman, but also always be looking out for other people. You have to answer for men's bad behavior, which is insane, but if you point that out, you're accused of complaining. You're supposed to stay pretty for men, but not so pretty that you tempt them too much or that you threaten other women because you're supposed to be a part of the sisterhood, but always stand out and always be grateful.
And it just goes on and on and on. It's so repetitive, and it's like no one ever taught the writers about show don't tell. It reminded me of that one episode of The Flash where the female characters kept unironically saying hashtag feminism. It's ironic because then you got the anti-feminist right-wingers tearing it apart and calling it anti-men over some badly written screenplay with bare minimum effort, but they're being so loud that it's only going to make people support this movie even more and overshadow the genuine criticisms. This movie's such a missed opportunity, and I feel like people are only saying they like it because they got caught up in the hype and bright pink aesthetic and felt like watching it was somehow the epitome of activism. Some superfans of this movie keep acting like there's never been another movie about women or for women or involving women ever before, and so they're hyping up their feminist of the moment. The story itself isn't even set entirely in Barbieland. They literally leave and go to the real world and then they come back. Bitch, why? That's the first thing that doesn't make sense to me. Why come up with a Barbie storyline where she leaves Barbieland? But they did, and so Barbie goes to the real world and she learns about misogyny for the first time. Like, okay, this is so dumb and a wasted opportunity considering they created a pink acrylic paint shortage for a set that's only in the movie maybe half the time. I wanted a Barbie movie set entirely in Barbie Land with a really fun and exciting storyline and a massive rewatch factor. And Barbie Land should have been this super fun place where they just hang out all the time, not a damn matriarchy and an actual society where they have actual jobs.
Well, that's our president with the beer.
They could have come up with literally any storyline doing absolutely anything that could have been better than this. Darkness creeps in on Barbie Land and slowly their land is withering, so they have to save the land, and it's a commentary on how society takes happy fun things, stories, toys, even kids content, and turns them dark because they think it's more mature and adult, and maybe it's a commentary on how society says you have to sacrifice fun and happiness once you leave childhood and grow up, and also could interweave a subtle analogy-based commentary on how a lot of people believe feminism and femininity cannot coexist, so the Barbies have to recover the pinkness in their land or something. Or a storyline where Barbie's best friend Ken graduates from the School of Kens and is having a crisis about what kind of Ken he wants to be, so being a good friend, Barbie tries to help him, but then she realizes she herself doesn't know what kind of Barbie she wants to be. And it's a movie about how everyone's pressured to be something and decide who they are at a young age and get thrust into the challenges of life without really getting a chance to explore themselves. They could have done, hey, what do Barbies and Kens do when kids are asleep, and do a storyline surrounding that. Another storyline, the Barbies are throwing a massive summer bash, but suddenly there's a crime in Barbie Land. One of the dolls' heads has been removed, and it would be comical rather than horror like that guy with the crab head from Dead Man's Chest, so the headless Barbie can still talk. And the Barbies and Kens all have to work together to figure out what's going on and restore the headless Barbies to normality, and it turns out they're all owned by these overexcited toddlers and they have to get through to them somehow. This is just me riffing random plotlines for Barbie off the top of my head, but somehow what Greta and Noah came up with over multiple years of work is Ken follows Barbie to the real world, which makes her feel insecure, and then Ken brings patriarchy to Barbie Land. Man, what? Do y'all realize patriarchy can't magically be created in a vacuum? And at the same time, they're also trying to do this Mattel storyline, and then another storyline with this mother-daughter thing and stuff about unrealistic beauty standards, but girl, you're in high school, so you got bigger problems. There was a journalist who said that while overstuffed with ideas, the movie was reminiscent of Legally Blonde and Clueless, which is what it should have been more like, rather than trying to cram in every little woman-related soundbite. Greta Gerwig can't write feminism unless it's overtly about a woman dealing with direct, in-your-face misogyny. Like, I bet she saw Elizabeth Swann as a pirate and thought, wait, shouldn't someone be commenting on the fact that she's a woman every 5 minutes and actively and obviously trying to oppress her? Is Elizabeth Swann no longer a strong female character just because her character was executed with finesse and situated in a world that shows the societal expectations she had to break free from, rather than having men overtly be like, you, woman, have kids now? And I shouldn't be surprised that her brand of feminism requires being colorblind too. I feel like feminism movies and shows with colorblind storytelling is kind of iffy, because obviously there's a place for it, and in some cases it's fine, like Hulu's The Great, but when you have a movie like Barbie with such overt, non-subtle examination of gender and the patriarchy and going into the real world, it then feels weird to completely ignore racial dynamics, like especially if it's this exploration of men versus women. Y'all are really gonna act like white women are lower on the totem pole than men of color? Like, what happened to intersectionality? You can say, hey, it's just supposed to be a fun movie with a message, it doesn't have to have nuance, but the writers opened that can of worms when they decided to force extremely complex and historied topics into a kids IP-based movie by oversimplifying the hell out of everything. If y'all wanted to make this movie about feminism, then there's a million other ways you could have done it. Barbie is having a great life in Barbie Land until she comes of age to take the Barbie qualification test to become an official doll. But she fails and has to go live with all the other failed dolls, and together they come up with a way to get back out there and gain proper doll status. Boom, another one. Just do some world building and some characterizing and the story will write itself. If you want a genuine examination of a strong female character breaking free of the patriarchy and dealing with the trade-off between motherhood and a career, watch The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. And guess what? They're not even subtle about it, and they don't have to be, because this show thoroughly and comically demonstrates how the patriarchy impacts everyone, including men.
My daughter was dumped by her husband. Instead of collapsing from the weight, she emerged stronger. Perhaps that was who she was all along. I never really took her seriously. My son, Noah, I would take him to Colombia with me every week so he could dream of what he could be. I don't remember if I ever did that for Miriam. I don't think it ever occurred to me. What could she have been if I had helped her and not ignored who she really is? My daughter is a remarkable person, and I don't think I've ever said that to her.
And it's not shy about the fact that Midge Maisel is naive and privileged, and like many white women, her sudden feminism gets in the way of seeing things through intersectionality. And in this show, the main male character, Joel, changes and becomes a better person, free of the patriarchal standards he grew up under and placed on himself and his relationship with Midge that he owns up to and apologizes for ruining. Unlike the way Barbie apologizes to Ken after everything he did. Like, you cannot be serious right now. If the storytelling wasn't bad enough already, the movie even uses a narrator without rhyme or reason. You have Margot Robbie upset because she feels imperfect and the narrator breaks the fourth wall and says she's the wrong actress to use to make that commentary. Well, actually, wouldn't she be the right actor to use in this case if the commentary is that misogyny doesn't care what you look like? And aren't you implying that if they'd gone with a different actress, then that character feeling insecure would be validated? Also, breaking the fourth wall should be done with purpose and craft, like Ferris Bueller telling us to leave after the movie ends. And these moments of Barbie being insecure, like who the hell wants to see that? Who wants to see depressed Barbie, man? That's just lame. And more importantly, why the hell is Greta Gerwig promoting the boring yawn session that was Pride and Prejudice 1995 over the classic masterpiece of Pride and Prejudice 2005? That's the real crime of this movie. But seriously, I feel like Barbie is just the wrong IP to use to make a point about society trying to make women feel inadequate, because Barbie was never that kind of toy. Barbie was just a random doll you could do anything with. Kids were not looking at Barbie and feeling insecure. They were looking at Barbies like action figures to act out basically whatever stories they wanted. And the animated Barbie content that Mattel produced, pretty sure they weren't making any girls out there feel bad about themselves.
I was once an electrical engineer.
You're still not joining me, correct?
Correct.
Some assembly required.
All done.
Do I mind that Barbie showed me up putting that car together? Nope. Besides, can she do this? Cocaine!
For a movie about a toy aimed at young kids, they easily could have treated Barbie like Elsa and had her strength and femininity simply exist. Actually, why did they even make the movie PG-13 as opposed to PG? I always find it weird when kids' IP gets turned into stuff that kids aren't able to watch anymore, especially when so much of the marketing seemed like it had been geared towards kids under 13. The marketing on this movie has actually been insane, and they're confident enough to be developing 45 other films and TV shows based on Mattel toys, so maybe you'll finally get that live-action Uno movie you've always wanted. The production budget of Barbie was $145 million, and the marketing budget is estimated at $150 million, plus theatrical distribution. Then they got Barbie Corvette popcorn buckets at AMC with a free doll, Barbie Xbox, Barbie-themed ice cream and cake at Cold Stone, Barbie burgers, a literal Barbie dream house in Malibu, like an actual physical one, a Barbie Progressive Insurance ad campaign, but man, was the Barbie-themed everything really worth it? There was really no need to do any of this at all. When it's an existing popular IP or brand like Barbie, the name itself is marketing. Plus, the whole Barbenheimer thing was a huge boost for both those movies, and it's also why neither of them were really affected by the strike when the press tours had to be shut down, because there had been so much constant hype built on social media and word of mouth since like May. Because of the impending success of Barbie, Miss Greta's been lining up quite the incoming resume. She's co-writing the live-action Snow White, which I'm telling you right now is going to be complete and utter garbage. If you want a genuine feminist and non-stupid or corny Snow White, look no further than Once Upon a Time. She's also set to direct at least 2 Narnia films, which, why are y'all remaking Narnia? She said she wants to direct more big studio movies, which, I mean, I can't blame a girl for chasing a bag, and maybe they'll even stop letting her write this crap and just direct.
Cocaine!